All right, welcome to Alabama Gristmill. We have this. I'm your co-host, Mike Causey, with co-host Donna Causey. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today. How are you doing?
Doing good. Still enjoying this spring weather coming in and getting away from this winter rain. So that's been kind of good.
Spring in Alabama there's nothing better.
Well, what we've got today is we've got a story about early immigration in Alabama. I don't know about early, just late 1800s.
Yeah, it's kind of later in the time. It's not pioneers actually, but they're pioneers for their nationality. But
yeah, the nationality of their culture coming in and bringing that in, and how that's developed in a town in South Alabama. So we've got that good little story there. I think it's, what do you got, about three individuals we're going to talk about?
Yeah, 3 individuals started it all that came up with the idea. They actually came from northern part of the United States. They came from around the Chicago area, a good many of them, because opportunities were getting scarce up there.
So they'd already made it into America, but they're just moving down to Alabama.
They came over, they immigrated over, and they went into Chicago shops and things like that. But the business kind of slowed down, and so they thought they wanted to get back to country living and farming. And lo and behold, they came to Alabama.
Well, before we get into that, we just want to mention, as usual, our self-sponsorship. It was through our patron program. So if you like what we got going on here with the podcast, AlabamaPioneers.com, you can become a patron and help support us.
If you want to be a sponsor for a podcast too, you can do that. Just let us know.
Yeah. We're not going to get crazy with the ads or anything. We just want to keep it stuff that people want to hear and related to Alabama.
Like, for instance, maybe you wrote a book, or something like that. We can always let you. We could extend on that, especially if you wrote a book about Alabama.
But again, if you do want to become a patron, you can just go to the website and do it the usual way. Just click the Become a Patron button, and we really appreciate the ones we have out there. So, with that being said, I guess I don't want to delay too much. We'll just kind of go right on into the story.
Okay.
And of the Swedes and Czechoslovakia immigrants in South Alabama.
They settled in a little town called Silverhill. Isn't that a pretty name?
Very pretty.
The origin of the name is kind of interesting because it was said that the town was already named Silverhill, or the settlement area was already named Silverhill. It's in Baldwin County, by the way. I might mention that.
Yeah, I haven't been down there. I don't know. I've been in Baldwin County, obviously, but I haven't been by the Silverhill.
Yeah, well, Silverhill was named because there was a man who owned a turpentine mill, and he lived at the top of the hill, and he paid all his people in silver. And that's how they got the name Silverhill. So that's kind of a strange way to do it, but I guess back then, I guess you'd be glad to work for him because, you get silver, which is instead of money that you might not be too sure about.
And I guess, it was back then, you kind of had to name a lot of stuff all the time. So, getting literal in the sense of we got paid in silver and we live on a hill. Silverhill was pretty much, okay, we've had to come up with a lot of creative names here. Let's keep it basic.
But what happened, the 3 men actually started the whole thing, and one stayed and became mayor. Oscar Johansson, and later he's called Oscar Johnson as an English name, and J. Linden, C. Swanson, C.O. Carlson, and C.A. Valentine met to discuss how to go south and start a farm. And they decided to go to South Alabama and explore the possibilities of forming a Swedish colony, as the names you can kind of tell were all Swedish names. And he first looked in Mobile County, or they all 3 looked in Mobile County, before coming to Baldwin County. They had all come to the county from Ohio by horse and wagon. Lumber companies had been cutting the ancient forest of central and south Baldwin, turning the land into a rural agricultural area rather than forest industry like the turpentine industry had been in the area before then. Well, left behind were tangled underbrush with tall stands of timber and wet bottomlands. It's a beautiful looking possibility of farming land. There were no roads, only small trails passable on foot, so I can imagine they had a time making it through the forest. They made another trip to Mobile County lands, then back to Baldwin County to finally agree to purchase the land in central Baldwin in June of 1896. So you can see it's late in the date of the state of Alabama. when they immigrated here. 3 of the men returned to Chicago, while Oscar Johnson and John Linden remained, and they were joined by Dr. E.C. Slauson to complete the transaction. Dr. Slauson had already been living in Silverhill since 1888. He went here, right? And he raised sheep there, so that's one reason they went in that area. The Slausons were originally from Illinois, and some of the land that Dr. Oscar Johnson and John Linden bought was owned by Dr. Slauson, and it is part of Silverhill today. The actual settlement in Silverhill dates back to before the Civil War. And like I said, the name Silverhill started appearing in records as early as 1861, not as a town, but more as a settlement. And it was that a turpentine still was operated east of the town in what is now Oscar Johnson Memorial Park. The area got the name Silverhill from the time that the man owned the turpentine, and he paid, like I said, he paid his workers in silver money at the top of the hill. And the Silverhill community of today was officially founded in 1897 by Oscar Johnson and these men when they came down seeking a new home. And they immediately bought land up and started selling it off to other people from their home area. Land was acquired by purchase from Mr. Harford, the first block of land being 1,500 acres, and was added to from time to time as the colonization work progressed as they spread out more and more. The men formed a land company in Chicago and advertised land for sale in Silverhill. So the other 3 men went back home and were advertising it for them. Scandinavian settlers came to Silverhill from virtually every state in the Union, though. They didn't just come from Illinois. Other people had expressed an interest in going back into farming, and Baldwin County seemed the perfect place. And it began the development of what was now the Silverhill District. They strongly believed in education and quickly built churches and schools. But that was kind of a problem because they were not English-speaking, most of them. One reason they built their own was so they could educate their children. They built the first school in 1904, and a hotel followed shortly afterwards. In 1909, 13 Bohemian families from Czechoslovakia, which was then known as Bohemia, moved into Silverhill. And so that kind of presented a problem because now we've got a new language coming in besides the Swedish language that they already had. So the schools really had a difficult time during those years in early 1900. In 1926, the village of Silverhill was incorporated, but one major problem hung over Silverhill. That, like I said before, is the language problem. And they really worked hard to try to, but they wanted to get everybody to speak in English so they could work together. But it was difficult during the early days. The Silverhill community of today was officially founded in 1897 by Oscar Johnson. Oscar Johnson was the mayor of Silverhill and president of the bank until his death at his home on September 19, 1929. It is said that he was a descendant of the Vikings, according to his obituary, and he was born in Sweden, March 7, 1858. He received his education in Sweden in the field of mining and iron manufacturing, so that's why he came over here, but he decided to abandon that and work in the farming industry. When he came to America, he settled in Chicago and was made foreman of a large construction company. In 1889, the first thought was to establish a Swedish colony, but he was broad-minded, and in 1909, when the first Czechoslovakian settlers immigrated to southwest of Silverhill, they were quickly pulled into the community, and the community developed along tolerant lines where all lived in harmony during those days, and that was very unusual. He was Silverhill's first mayor, like I said, and the first bank president. And he held those positions all his life, even up until his death. Once a year, Silverhill has a Heritage Day, and I think this year it's going to be April 27th, 2019. So they've got a Facebook page that will tell you more about it. And you can look it up. It's entitled Silverhill Heritage Day Festival. So you'll learn more about it there.
Yeah, that's it's pretty amazing that you can have a couple fellows or 3 or 4 fellows, and decide to, this is not working out for us. We're going to move down and just start a whole new community. And the people, it's just kind of it's you don't see that much now anymore. You don't have that opportunity, obviously.
Well, and you think about it, that's a long way from up in Chicago down into Baldwin County, all the way down to the coast, just about. So.
Exactly. You don't have it's a multiple day trip for sure. You're not driving on the interstate, hopping in a car.
Right.
So you're really thinking about what you're doing and everything. But like you mentioned, the Silverhill's got the Heritage Day Festival coming up. And I personally love those festivals because they're just fun to go down to the town square, and they usually, have music and food vendors and local arts and crafts and things like that.
Pure Americana.
Exactly. And being in April, late April, that's going to be some great weather.
Oh, that will be, especially down in Baldwin County.
So it should be a lot of fun. So if you want to spend a good day out and surround yourself with good arts and crafts and people and a good bit of history, that'd be a good way to spend it. Yeah,
the best place to find it, like I said, is the Facebook page. That'll give you all the details about it, so you can see what's going on there. And they have it annually, so keep an eye out for it.
I think they held off one year, just recently, but came back last year and had it, and they're going to have it again this year. So there was a lot of activities on it. Last year, I know they even had people portraying Oscar Johnson.
Oh, really?
Giving
I didn't notice that.
Gave a historic, history with the history of the area and the founding. So they actually had a historical reenactment that was tied in with the library. So that was a fun event. They had a couple bands, so I'm sure it's going to be even bigger and better this year.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Festivals like that, people really get actively involved. And this is bicentennial things going on now. So people really get involved more in historical things this year. So if you're going to tour Alabama, this is the year to do it. Because things
we'll keep that. We'll post anything that we find out on our Facebook page as well. So once they get more information out there, but you can find them, looking on the Facebook page like you mentioned.
Like I say, it's a Swedish and the Czechoslovakian cultures there. You're going to find not just one culture; it'd be more than one.
Yes. So I imagine you would have some great arts and crafts.
I imagine so too.
Wonderful food.
I'm sure.
Well, all right. Well, we'll just go ahead and wrap this one up. Until next time, we'll let Red Foley play us out with the Alabama Jubilee, and we'll see you next time or you'll listen to us or see us next time.
Right. We always say see, don't we?
Yeah, I know. So it's like TV
yeah.
But we'll see you next time on it with Alabama Gristmill.
Bye-bye.
Joe dancing round on his toes, throws away his crutch and hollers, hey, let her go, oh honey, hey.